Bear down Bears fans. We just had an enormous victory in London, taking down the Jacksonville Jaguars, who fell to 1-5, 35-16 in a game that looked like it was most likely the coming out party for Caleb Williams. Now, look, we had a great game last week. Don't want to take anything away from it, but this was something that we have not seen from Caleb Williams yet. This is something different. This was Caleb Williams making the tight throws into the tight windows. This was him making the plays where you can only get it over a specific shoulder or only where your guy can get it. Now, we still got a little bit of problem with the offensive line. He took 3 sacks, but it seems to have been fairly mitigated overall as the team stepped up big time. And after falling behind 3-0 in the first quarter, literally doing nothing in the first quarter, flipped the script, turned it around, and just went absolutely crazy. It was a great time to be a Bears fan right now. And we're going to talk about some of the stats. We're going to talk about where the Bears seem to line up in the NFL. But let's break this down as best we can. If you like this type of content, make sure you hit the like button on your way in. And let's go. Caleb Williams finishes 23 of 29, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Like to have that interception back, but 4 touchdowns was a defining game. By the way, this was the first. This is the Caleb Williams has become the first rookie quarterback to have 4 touchdowns in a game, throwing 25 or more throws as a rookie and a quarterback. Like everything that had happened here was a great sign of Caleb Williams' development. But not to take anything away from that, the bigger thing was the finally reemerging DeAndre Swift, who was, if you guys remember, 3 weeks ago, we were talking about DeAndre Swift sitting at 1.8 yards per carry. And now for this season, he's looking at 3.5 yards per carry just because of the work that he's put in over these last 2 games, going 17 for 91, 5.4 yards per carry with a touchdown. This was another. As a matter of fact, if you guys were watching, he had an 18-yard run and a 19-yard run to really kind of seal. But back to back, big time runs back to back on first downs that gave the Bears what they needed when they needed it. And by the way, those are the kind of moments there that the Bears have sorely lacked for a long period of time, and that is when the team knows what's coming, when they know what's likely. The Bears get stopped. Well, guess what? They didn't get stopped this time. In fact, they they were able to assert their will on this not very good Jacksonville Jaguars team. By the way, Jacksonville Jaguars have a very talented team. This is not a lack of talent on this team. This is just more, and this is my opinion, but what it looks like to me is that the Jacksonville Jaguars are just, look, when you have a culture of winning, then you win games. You find ways to win. Your players step up and they start to win. When you don't have a culture of winning, then you struggle to find reasons to keep your head in the game, to keep making plays. And I think the Jaguars are kind of struggling with that right now. But this is not about the Jaguars. This is about Chicago. So Cole Kmet, 5 receptions, 70 yards for 2 touchdowns with a long of 31 on 5 targets, by the way. Cole Kmet doesn't miss at this point. Keenan Allen, 5 of 5 on targets, 41 yards and 2 touchdowns as well. Finally having a good game for himself. Roma Dunze, 2 catches for 40 yards off of 2 targets. There's a lot of accuracy going on here with Caleb Williams. Roshan had 2 for 25. DeAndre Swift had 4 for 28. DJ Moore had 4 receptions for 20 yards. One that looked like a touchdown that ended up being on the 1-yard line because his knee came down just a little bit before ball was hitting the ground. Mercedes Lewis had 1 reception. Gerald Everett was targeted but didn't get a reception. DeAndre Swift did lose a fumble. Tevin Jenkins recovered a fumble. Elijah Hicks recovered a fumble. And as far as the defense go, Jalen Jones stepped up big time with 10 total tackles. Kyler Gordon, I think Kyler might be injured, by the way, but he had a tackle for loss. 7 total. Kevin Byard stepped up big time again. TJ Edwards always consistent. Tremaine Edmonds with the peanut smash to knock the ball out to start that fumble. And Kevin Byard, TJ Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds, Elijah Hicks passes defended. These guys these guys were having a really good game. DeMarcus Walker, by the way, how about DeMarcus Walker coming up with a sack? Matter of fact, I think he had 2 shared sacks. Montez Sweat had a sack. Byron Cowart shared a sack with DeMarcus Walker as well. Chris Williams and Amin Agbenamigma. So that was this was a really good game for the Chicago Bears all around. You want to see that suffocating sort of defense, and you saw moments where the Jaguars just couldn't get anything started. Trevor Lawrence finished 23 of 35, 234 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, sacked 3 times, but he struggled to find his way in this game. And that goes out to the Chicago Bears defense, who again stepped up big time. Now, let's get back to Caleb Williams for just a few minutes because there's a lot coming out right now. There's a lot of people talking about it. There's a lot of people saying, really, this is, we're really starting to see something here, right? Caleb Williams, the number 1 overall pick, set career highs for single game completion percentage, which was 79.3, 4 touchdowns, while throwing for 226 yards and rushing for 56. Big overall game by Caleb Williams, threading the needle. Look, we're not going to show this because we get demonetized for showing it. But also we had this rush right here where he just evaded everybody, ran for 24 yards. And look, this is the piece that we were missing on this team. We didn't see anything like this from Justin Fields. As a matter of fact, going back to Justin Fields and Mitchell Trubisky, it took 12 games for Mitchell Trubisky to throw his 7th touchdown in his first season, and it took 10 games for Justin Fields to throw his 7th in 10 games, and it took 5.5 games for Caleb Williams to get there. Now, that does not make him better than these other guys. I would like to say that he is. I would like to say that he will be. Doesn't mean that he's better. It just means that this team is better, in my opinion. So I'm going to leave it at that. It was very interesting to see this, to see Caleb Williams really start to develop. Not just that, but Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen, as a matter of fact, if you guys didn't see it, he just led the celebration of the year. If you guys did not see it, on his first touchdown catch, he catches the ball in the end zone, and then he sits down, and everybody sits around him, and they all start sipping tea, which was hilarious. And there you have it right there. They all have a spot of tea after the touchdown. So, guys, this is, by the way, these are the kind of things. This is a unifying sort of thing. You see all of these guys coming over to Keenan Allen. You see all these guys happy for him. You see all these guys putting in the work to be a team. You see it all starting to happen. This is what you've been hoping for, looking for from the Chicago Bears for a long period of time. By the way, don't let me be the one that said I told you so, but this is exactly what I expected to happen starting at the beginning of the year. Now, the fact that we had to lose 2 games to get here does not escape me, but this is the kind of team that I expected us to be by this point. Now, there are a few things, by the way, that when I say my expectations that are not being met, and that one, number 1, is going to be Khalil Herbert, Roschon Johnson. I do think that they had some value, despite that DeAndre Swift is having some really good games back to back. I think that these guys should still be more involved. I understand you're paying $8 million. I understand, but Khalil Herbert has a lot of value as a running back. And if we're not utilizing him, maybe he's good trade bait or something like that. Would like to see something happen. Also, for those of you that are unaware, Bears going into this bye week right now. Next week, that means that they're going to start talking to Keenan Allen about a contract extension, which is good for him coming off of a 2-touchdown game. But we'll see how that plays out. We'll see what it is, what his demand is, what the numbers look like, and whether or not that can fit into the Bears. Of course, we can't risk the farm in order to sign one player. We've already signed quite a few players for some heavy amounts of money that we need to get off of the books, in my opinion. So it'll be interesting to see really how this shapes up and how this lines up with Keenan Allen. But he did come in with the spot of T. Also, by the way, a lot was said about Shane Waldron, but look, we have to give credit where credit is due. Shane Waldron has gone from really looking like the second coming of Luke Getsy to calling some real good games. Now, did it take him a while to figure it out? Yes. Did we want to see certain things happen? Like we all want to see DeAndre Swift get benched for Roshan Johnson or Khalil Herbert or anybody that would make those plays. And guess what? DeAndre Swift came alive. Shane Waldron stuck with him. He saw something that we were not seeing as they were working their way through this offense. Then the team leaders came to Shane Waldron and said, look, these are the things that are not working. We got to do something about it. Shane Waldron, to his credit, was receptive to that, made some changes in the dynamic of the team. By the way, it should be noted that the team continued to improve along the way. So much of the improvement, I'm going to say, comes to the players. But Shane Waldron, we can argue, has been calling a much better game. And the defense has been making it look easy, which is also very important. But Shane Waldron got Cole Kmet really deep into the game. By the way, Cole Kmet, double duty as long snapper. He had 6 long snaps. He is the first long snapper in history with 2 touchdowns in a game. So Cole Kmet stepping up where needed. Matt Eberflus was interviewed before the game, and they talked about, or at halftime, they talked about, how did Cole Kmet become your long snapper? When did he even get time to practice? And Matt Eberflus said, every Thursday, baby, every Thursday. So apparently this is the guy. Now, and by the way, we were all saying it, except you. We were all saying it. And no, he wasn't calling the same game as Luke Getsy. Otherwise, we'd probably have leads in the first quarter because Luke Getsy could at least script out a good start to the game. We go 3 and out way too much. But we all felt it like, oh my God, this is not an improvement. Maybe that's what I meant to say. There's not an improvement over Luke Getsy. Now it's starting to look like a massive sort of improvement. Along with that, DJ Moore, low yardage, but guess what? All his interviews, everything that DJ Moore is saying right now, he is super happy with where he is and what is going on. Would he like to see a lot more targets? Would he like to see a lot more catches? Of course he would. And in time, we will see DJ Moore have a resounding 200-300-yard game. We're going to see a couple of those this season. Okay. I'm telling you right now, we're going to see some massive games out of DJ Moore. But in order for that to happen, we've got to get that running game going. The running game is starting to go, which means that you can't tune in to the pass as much, and that is going to free up DJ Moore down the field. And you got Keenan Allen working it. You've got Roma Dunsley working it. There's not going to be, you can't double cover because you got Cole Kmet as well. The offense of the Chicago Bears is now a problem for the NFL. And as Caleb continues to improve and continues to make smart plays, he'll still make rookie mistakes, but he continues to make smart plays. And as that gets better and better and better, you're going to see some massive breakout games from DJ Moore. Again, it is my estimation that over the second half of this season, you're going to see more than one 200, 250-yard game from DJ Moore. He's going to have a massive couple of games, and we're going to be here for it. As a matter of fact, I think it's almost a given at this point that at some point soon we're going to see a shootout, and we're going to see Caleb Williams passing for between 400 and 500 yards, and we're going to see DJ Moore big, big, big time. Probably Roma Dunsley is going to have one of those kind of games too. So it's coming right now. Now, let's talk about the power index, because as we go down the NFL power index for football, guess who clocks in now at number 13 overall? Now, listen, if you do power rankings and you look at the NFL power rankings, you'll see the Bears are clearly a team on the rise. But at this point, on the power index, the Bears are starting to show up in the 13 position, as you can see right now, up 9 spots. And you can see some other teams. By the way, Tampa Bay, what a victory for Tampa Bay yesterday, up 6 points as well. You are seeing a few of these teams starting to break out. And Washington Commanders took the L yesterday. Jaden Daniels had another good game. So 2 weeks from now, we're going to be seeing Jaden Daniels the number 2 pick, versus Caleb Williams, the number 1 pick. It's going to be an interesting game, if nothing else. Does it settle anything? Will it? It's going to matter to a lot of different people. There's a lot of people that are going to look at it and be like, I mean, they don't want to see Caleb. They don't want to see Jaden Daniels or Caleb Williams. There'll be a lot of people that are just haters about it. But I think what you're going to see is you're going to see, with 2 weeks to prepare. That's what I would like to say. With 2 weeks to prepare, I think you're going to see the Chicago Bears go into lockdown on Jaden Daniels, and I will think that the most likely scenario here is that TJ or Tremaine is going to spy Jaden Daniels the entire game. That they're going to focus on making Jaden Daniels beat them down the field, not in the like the short passing game has been what Jaden Daniels has been good at so far. It's what he's really excelled at. So I think that the Chicago Bears, with 2 weeks to prepare, might have a pretty good or a pretty interesting sort of answer to the Jaden Daniels dilemma in the NFL. And look, it's going to go a long way towards establishing the quote unquote legacy of Caleb Williams, to see him go out here and beat down on the number 2 overall pick, who thinks he should be the number 1 overall pick because he won the Heisman last year. So anyway, the Chicago Bears now sitting in the power index at number 13, and that's a pretty good number here. Now, NFL Power Rankings just came out, and they have the Chicago Bears at number 15 right here at Super Bowl odds. So now you see they've moved up above Tampa Bay, Seattle, Pittsburgh, Los Angeles Chargers, Saints, Colts, Dolphins. Starting to see some of these teams starting to fall back in the wayside. The Chicago Bears making their way up this chart. Very interesting to see. The Chicago Bears are now being a contender, if you will. A couple more spots, and you'll be looking at playoffs. Now, the issue here, if there is an issue, Minnesota Vikings, Green Bay Packers, Detroit Lions, everybody from the NFC North is not going to be able to go into the playoffs. I don't think that works that way. So, the Bears are going to have to step up and not rest on any sort of laurels. And then finally, NFL Power Rankings just came out, and coming in at number 12 on Pro Football Network's NFL Power Rankings are the Chicago Bears. The Bears opened the season with 4 straight one-score games, but they've outscored the Panthers and the Jaguars 71-26 over the past 2 weeks. By the way, you should be beating the worst teams in the league by a lot. And guess what? They are doing that. And what does that mean for the Chicago Bears? This is just my opinion, but it means that the Chicago Bears, as they are coming together, are a lot better than people gave them credit for. And now here we are with the Chicago Bears, 2 weeks off, but on the cusp of taking it to a new level and starting to look like the team that we've been hoping for a long period of time. In those games, the top overall pick in April racked up 530 passing yards, 6 touchdowns on just 58 attempts, not to mention 90 yards on the ground. This defense has been a top 5 unit across the statistical buffet since the midway point of last season, and is looking a lot like a team that could make noise in the loaded NFC North. And look, 3 straight divisional games from weeks 11, 12, and 13. That's when we're going to really find out who the Chicago Bears are. Are the Chicago Bears as good as, or are they better than the Minnesota Vikings? Are they as good as or better as Green Bay? Are they as good as or better than Detroit? And look, we've had Detroit's number. That's the important part. We've had Detroit's number last season, despite the collapse with 4 minutes and 54 seconds left in one of those games. We really played them very, very well, and I think we really dominated. And by the way, without Aiden Hutchinson, who took a gruesome injury yesterday, without Aiden Hutchinson, I think the dynamic of their pass rush has changed dramatically. So I would be looking at some opportunities for wins here against Detroit, and I think there's going to be quite a surprise coming for the Minnesota Vikings. So, and by the way, did the Minnesota Vikings get twice as good as the Bears? I don't think so. These were some very close, hard fought games last season. So, when I look at this, I don't think they got that much better, but the Bears got that much better. So, I think that we're about to see something where we're like, wow, the Bears really are good. But we have to see we have to see that product on the field. We have to see them make those plays. We have to see it all kind of play out. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I've been, for those of you who don't know, I have another podcast that does cryptocurrency. And by the way, if you haven't already down there, if you're interested in gold, precious metals, or silver, then there is a metal stacks down below, Crazy Karen. If you want to, you can go check that out. And if you're interested in investment. Now, also, again, I have a cryptocurrency channel. Everything was declining over there. I had to put effort into it. And then I had to take a little vacation. So I've been gone for a little while. You're going to see a lot more content coming out from me in the future on the Chicago Bears. Just took me a few days to get my uh, everything else kind of coordinated. So thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to bear down F Green Bay and Minnesota and Detroit. I don't like any of you guys from those stupid teams. And we'll see you guys again very, very soon.